We are cooked, man. We are so cooked. So freaking cooked. I think according to Wall Street Journal, Trump is continuing shipping the shipment of 2,000-pound bombs to Israel. Israel in the process, by the way, has violated the ceasefire that it was supposed to abide by killing 6 people, I believe, 6 Palestinians a couple hours ago. So that's cool. Wonderful stuff. Israel ambassador expects Trump to reverse hold on 2,000-pound bombs. Israel expects President Trump to lift the Biden administration's hold on the supply of 2,000-pound bombs in his first day in office. Outgoing Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Mike Herzog, told Axios. Can't wait for the Democrats to be like, oh, see, I told you it was going to be worse. Sorry, it wasn't 6, it's 8. West Bank is currently on fire. The settlers have lit the West Bank on fire. So make no mistake, the brief moment of respite will be followed, like I've said, by a lot more cruelty. Steve Witkoff is talking about Gaza.
This achievement demonstrates the strength of President Trump's leadership and the respect he commands on the global stage. It is yet another example of his ability to deliver results in the most complex and challenging situations. The Abraham Accords, a testament to his vision and determination, have also brought historic progress to the region, transforming old rivalries into new alliances. These agreements are not merely symbolic. They represent a practical roadmap for peace, economic cooperation, and mutual respect across nations. My role, as President Trump has tasked me, is straightforward yet profoundly challenging: to turn his vision into actionable outcomes. He sets the agenda, he lays the framework, and he inspires people like me into bold action. My responsibility is to implement his vision, engaging with leaders across the region to find pathways towards sustainable peace and stability. And let me tell you, having Donald Trump as a boss makes this task not only possible, but far more effective. President Trump's reputation as a leader who delivers results resonates far beyond Washington. Leaders in the Middle East know he means what he says. His ability to cut through bureaucratic gridlock and focus on tangible results is the game changer. It allows me to approach delicate negotiations with the confidence that the full weight of the United States is behind me. The principles President Trump has laid out for our approach to the Middle East and foreign policy in general are fourfold, and they are clear. 1, respect for sovereignty. Every nation deserves the right to determine its own destiny, free from the interference of external powers. 2, economic prosperity as a bridge to stability. Through economic partnerships and investment, we can build a foundation for cooperation that transcends historical grievances. 3, courageous diplomacy. Real progress requires difficult conversations and bold decisions, and it is through these that trust is built and maintained. And finally, 4, reciprocity and
Chad's saying, what about Gaza? He's literally talking about Gaza, dude. Why do you think he's saying that? You think he needs to say that for Israel? Everybody understands Israel as sovereignty.
For nations that are unwilling. We are done carrying the financial burden for nations that are unwilling to fund their own progress. The days of blank checks are over. Partnerships under President Trump's leadership must be equitable, and contributions must reflect shared commitments to our goals. In my work, I've seen firsthand how these principles resonate. They provide a foundation that transcends politics and speaks to the shared humanity of all people in a region. Leaders across the Middle East recognized that this Trump administration is serious about results, not symbolic gestures, but real, meaningful progress that improves lives. Thank you. It's not always easy. There are moments of deep challenge and frustration. Decades of mistrust cannot be undone overnight. Yet I take comfort in knowing that I am not in this alone. President Trump's clarity of vision ensures that I never have to question what success looks like. His leadership provides the confidence and direction necessary to navigate these complexities. As we move forward, my commitment is to continue the work of advancing President Trump's vision for the Middle East. Whether through expanding the Abraham Peace Accords, fostering economic development, or facilitating dialogue between long-standing adversaries, my focus remains on actionable results. Let me close by saying this: a stable and prosperous Middle East is not an unattainable dream. It is a goal within our reach, made possible by strong leadership and unwavering commitment. Under President Trump's guidance, we are proving that the impossible can become reality. Thank you, but I have one more thing to say. We have some special people for me to introduce you to tonight. President Trump has been talking to them as well. They are the families of hostages from Israel who have been in Gaza for the last year and a half. There are many of them here today. Several of the families have lost children and loved ones, and they're here because they're part of an effort to retrieve their bodies so they can be buried in a proper way. Several have children who are still in captivity. There is an American family here whose loved one is scheduled to come out in 14 days.
It is kind of crazy that like the Biden admin set the stage for so much for Israel to be propped up as this like massive massive sovereign state that operates on its own, that Steve Witkoff, a random golf buddy of Donald Trump, can sit up there and act like he overcame this Herculean task. Okay? Like, come on, dog. Let's have a moment of honesty here. Like, you just told them what's what. That's it. The notion that like it is really difficult to get Israel to abide by the agreements that we set forth is so silly to me. No Palestinian representative? Yeah, of course not, dude. Are you kidding me? I told you, it's not like Donald Trump is a friend of the Palestinians. Never was and never will be. Make no mistake. Whenever I talked about this situation, I told you, yes, in the interim period, a moment of respite is still ultimately a good thing. But I am not holding my breath with the assumption that, the future for Palestinians will be great under the Trump leadership. It's not. I warned you that he'd most likely cut a side deal. I told you that any kind of respite, any kind of long-standing ceasefire agreement is most likely being conducted so that Israel can recoup, recover, and rearm. But this does not mean that there shouldn't be a ceasefire. A ceasefire ultimately is still good.
Put a deal on the table back in May 2024, but if you talk to anyone here and say what was the difference between the deal on May 24 and what just happened here, they say nothing on paper. The only difference was Donald Trump. I want to really highlight something that Stephen Witkoff said there. He seemed to suggest that one of the American hostages, possibly two, who we believe to be part of this first phase.
Is the war in Ukraine over yet? No, he's got 24 more hours, or 12 more hours. Don't worry, chat. 12 more hours, chat. Don't worry, it's coming.
She was released much earlier, is still in Washington. So I haven't been able to check whether she was one of those on the stage, but an important moment.
Of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Ian panel, our thanks to you, Ian, who's covered this conflict from the very beginning.
He's got like 6 more hours, dude. He'll fix the.
After greeting the families,
he's got like 6 more hours to go, man. I'm sure he'll pack up the whole Russia stuff.
Of course, this arena is filled with supporters who gathered early this morning.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you. So now the work begins. We won, but now the work begins. We have to.
Witkoff visiting Gaza to ensure the ceasefire deal is implemented.
And, you know,
yeah, I
tonight,
saw that. But they're
I'm
also
gonna be
opening up
signing
2,000-pound munitions.
Hostages, pardons.
They're going to continue giving extra munitions to Israel. Here, look at this.
And as soon as I leave, I'm going to the Oval Office, and we'll be signing pardons for a lot of people. A lot of people. And thank you to Steve Witkoff. He's a great guy. He's a friend of mine. He's been a very successful man. He's a great negotiator. He's a wonderful guy. People love him. And he's got a tremendous power of persuasion. And that's what we need. We don't need stiffs. We don't need stiffs. We got a lot of stiffs. You just had a whole load of them. And to the former hostages with us today, welcome. And welcome home. Some of the folks are former hostages. Not a good situation. The 3 young ladies that came home yesterday, you saw that. There are more coming home every day now. They're coming home. But they were hurt. They were hurt. They were hurt. One had her head blown off. Fingers.
Oh, God, bro. Don't say that in front of them. Holy shit.
She was trying to defend herself from a bullet.
Oh
being
my
fired. You
God,
believe
bro.
this? A
He
bullet
is so crazy.
knocked off her hand. I don't know. You look at it, it's a disgrace. We never stop.
Oh my
praying for you,
God.
and we're so glad that you're reunited.
Bro, in front of the parents, dude.
Bless you all. And some of them are just saying, no, my son is gone, but please just bring home his body. Right, Steve? Many of you have told me that your son is gone, but bring home his body. It should have never happened. 3 years, it's ridiculous. Should have never happened. Wouldn't have happened.
There's also more cool things happening. And by cool, I mean not, you know, I'm saying that sarcastically. One, as I mentioned already, Israel expects President Trump to lift the Biden administration's hold on the supply of the 2,000-pound bombs in his first days in office. Outgoing Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Mike Herzog, told me. And also, on top of that, the West Bank is currently on fire. There were clashes that took place after radical settler terrorists lit parts of the West Bank on fire. And I believe the IDF might have accidentally shot one of their own. The IDF might have accidentally shot one of the settlers, thinking that they were actually Palestinian. Trump is also expected to reverse the sanctions on the Biden administration imposed on Israeli settlers that were involved in violent attacks against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli ambassador to U.S. Herzog told Axios, here is the West Bank on fire. Oh, not one, but 2. The IDF shot 2. Breaking. An Israeli policeman shot 2 Israeli settlers after mistaking them for Palestinians. Israeli Channel 12 reports the settlers, reportedly masked, were shot after the officer, fearing for his safety, believed they were a threat. Several Israeli news outlets reports that the settlers were carrying weapons and had fired towards the Al Funduk village, leading the officer to think they were Palestinian gunmen. Haaretz confirmed the settlers were severely wounded in the incident. Packwatch, once again. These guys are not dissimilar to the Republican Party. basically killing themselves because there's no more Palestinians to kill at this point, you know? The Palestinian Red Crescent reports that 21 Palestinians were injured due to assaults and gas inhalation during the settlers' attack on the villages of Al-Funduk, Jinsafut, east of Kalkilia. Like I said, Donald Trump is going to severely escalate the cruelty in the West Bank, and that the brief moment of solace coming from the ceasefire in Gaza, you can barely pronounce the names of those cities. Grifter. Wait, what? I don't know if you know this, but I don't speak Arabic. I'm Turkish. I speak Turkish. Maybe you don't know that, actually. You probably just assumed I was Arab because my name is Hasan and I'm pro-Palestinian, right? So you're just like, oh, these classic Arab hive mind guy, but also simultaneously not able to speak Arabic or something. Anyway, Israeli occupation forces detained tens of Palestinians from a zone east of Kalkilia in the occupied West Bank. Last night, settlers escorted and with full cooperation with the Israeli army attacked Palestinian communities in the West Bank. In Sabastia, a 15-year-old boy was shot and killed by soldiers. In Shinjil, 6 Palestinians were injured by Molotov cocktails. And in numerous intersections, settlers rioted and threw stones at Palestinian vehicles. While the deal progresses, the settlers' rioters are clear to impose a price tag for the release of Palestinians from Israeli prisons. These guys are terrorists. They are the Klan. They are basically the KKK. They are Jewish supremacists, rabid psychopaths. And they are absolutely defended by the Israeli government and the occupying force in the region. So make no mistake, things are going to get worse very quickly. Meanwhile, in the Gaza Strip, apparently Israel is already violating its own ceasefire agreement as well, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Hold on. Let me give you some details on that as well. Live, 137 bodies found in Rafah alone on day 2 of the Israel-Hamas ceasefire. Just found new bodies. These are new bodies from under the rubble since the start of the ceasefire in Rafah alone. An estimated 10,000 bodies are buried under the concrete wasteland in Gaza. At least 3 Palestinians have been killed and a further 8 wounded by Israeli gunfire in Rafah, despite the ceasefire. They are already violating the ceasefire that they didn't want to take on and shooting and killing Palestinians already. Also in the West Bank, going back to the West Bank, Israeli forces have closed a large number of checkpoints, gates, and bypass roads throughout the West Bank. Palestinian news outlets reported that all cities in the region have been effectively separated, leaving thousands of Palestinians stranded on the streets. Full closure of all entrances to Ramallah, complete closure of all entrances to Hebron, all entrances to Kalkilia have been shut, entrances to Salfit are completely closed, all entrances to Bethlehem have been sealed. So, like I said, make no mistake, Donald Trump is not a friend to the Palestinians, but neither was Joe Biden. The notion that this was going to get better was always a silly one, but the very fact that the Democratic Party that is supposed to be against this sort of thing just simply didn't do anything, knowing full well that they could even lose the election and then Trump would be significantly worse. Just as the way Joe Biden came into office and did not reverse any number of different policies with respect to Israel that Trump had implemented, whether it be the Abraham Accords or the recognition of the annexed land, the annexed Syrian territory of Golan Heights. No reversals came for that. No communiques with the Palestinian side when Biden came into office that set the stage for October 7 to happen. And then 15 months of endless, unlimited genocide that Biden oversaw with no interest in putting an end to the hurt, not moving the embassy from Jerusalem, all of this stuff. And here we are. Just a devastating situation. Oh, AOC to ADL. Just to be clear, you are defending a Heil Hitler salute that was performed and repeated for emphasis and clarity. People can officially stop listening to you as any sort of reputable source of information now. You work for them. Thank you for making that crystal clear to all. Do you think the ADL will say anything about Elon straight up doing a Nazi salute? They already have. They did. They defended him. The ADL, which famously have said that students wearing a keffiyeh are actually basically wearing a Nazi swastika, turned around and predictably defended Elon Musk doing a Nazi salute. And I joked about this before they actually tweeted this out, saying, here, I tweeted about this as well. Here it is. I said, come on, man. I said, it's okay, though. He's pro-Israel. Don't worry, guys. And then mere moments later, look at this. I said this at 1:08 p.m., 2 hours after the fact. ADL, this is a delicate moment. It's a new day, and yet so many are on edge. Our politics are inflamed as social media only adds to the anxiety. It seems that Elon Musk made an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm, not a Nazi salute. But again, we appreciate that people are on edge. In this moment, all sides should give one another a bit of grace, perhaps even the benefit of the doubt, and take a breath. This is a new beginning. Let's hope for healing and work towards unity in the months and years ahead. They have never been honest about their true intention. The ADL is not the Anti-Defamation League. They love defamation. They love defaming people, calling people like myself anti-Semitic over and over again. They are not the Anti-Defamation League so much as they are the Apartheid Defense League. They only care about defending the Israeli apartheid. I've shown you enough footage of Jonathan Greenblatt, the president of the ADL, speaking in front of the Israeli Knesset about what Israel must do to promote Israel in the Western world over and over again. This is one of the tools. Yeah. For the ADL, a Nazi salute from a pro-apartheid billionaire is just an awkward gesture in a moment of enthusiasm, but a college student wearing a keffiyeh is basically a swastika. Just so you understand, there are a million different versions of Elon Musk hitting that. You can watch the video and make up your own mind. Because there are plenty of instances where politicians have like raised their hand in the sky and people go, oh, in a screenshot, they go, oh, they're doing a Nazi salute. Elon Musk hit it, okay? I'm not going to repeat it, but Elon Musk hit it twice in succession, enthusiastically, and dare I say belligerently. He hit it twice. He emoted it twice. He even hit the chest while hitting it. The idea that there's any sort of doubt there is very silly. And it's also funny because you want to know why it's funny? Want to know why it's funny? Because you don't need that to know that Elon Musk is a fucking Nazi. Like, what are we talking about? Context here is that Musk supports AfD, the far-right party in Germany. Not only that, but also Elon Musk has talked with the leadership of the AfD, the neo-Nazi party in Germany, about how Hitler was actually a socialist, doing historical revisionism surrounding the Holocaust. Elon Musk has also unbanned every single Nazi in North America and around the globe after purchasing Twitter. Elon Musk, in that process, has also personally followed neo-Nazi accounts. Elon Musk has highlighted neo-Nazi accounts. Elon Musk famously responded to a person doing the classic neo-Nazi fascist anti-Semitic canard, the anti-Semitic statement that like Jews are doing unlimited immigration from the third world of like lower status people specifically to destroy Western civilization. Elon Musk responded to that person and said, "You have said the absolute truth." That ideology was echoed initially by the synagogue shooter that's responsible for the worst anti-Semitic hate crime in the United States of America in modern American history. Soldier Goy Tellem says, can you imagine their response if Rashida Tlaib did this? Like, I might have my differences in opinion with a lot of these like liberals and stuff online, but everyone can see what is happening here. And only one group here is just still trying to maintain the position that, you know, Elon, he just didn't mean it. So yeah. AOC is correct in openly saying that the ADL is a fraudulent institution. One thing that I also always find funny is that it does not take much for any random American to consider another to be a communist. These people say Nancy Pelosi is a communist. These people say the likes of billionaire corporate owners, billionaire oligarchs like Jeff Bezos are socialists. But God forbid someone does a Sig Heil. That's not a Nazi. Everyone is a socialist. No one is a Nazi. That's it. Everyone's a communist. Nancy Pelosi is a communist. Elon Musk, on the other hand, not a Nazi. What are we doing here? Why is everyone so afraid to call it what it is? Well, for the ADL, there's a different reason. The ADL's motivations is as long as you are rich and as long as you are a wealthy billionaire who is a right-wing Republican, but more importantly, as long as you're a right-wing billionaire who's pro-Israel, the ADL will always defend you, okay? Classic take from Ben Shapiro that I always go back to. Ann Coulter tweets regarding Jews, awful, nonsensical. Ann Coulter is also super pro-Israel and always has been, so I won't lose sleep. That's it. Is there even such a thing as a left-wing billionaire? No, of course not. Imam Husham al-Husseini of Dearborn did not deliver a benediction at Trump's inauguration. He was listed on a program last week and had confirmed a report he was speaking. Some pro-Israel groups such as ZOA had objected him to speaking, and then they stopped him from speaking because that imam loves Hezbollah and Hamas. That's so, I think it's funny that even I don't know if that dude is pro Hezbollah, but but it's funny to think that that the Trump administration was like, yeah, we want a pro Hezbollah imam to speak and deliver a speech. My job is not to lie to you. Okay, my job is to tell you the truth. And time again, I have communicated to you when Donald Trump, even in the interim period, does something that the Democrats haven't done. My job is to also offer additional context and analysis. Like, for example, Gaza being the key issue that we've talked about extensively over the past 15 months, the genocide that Israel has conducted. Joe Biden refused to deal with Israel, refused to pressure Israel at all, refused to let Israel budge on the ceasefire negotiations, and actively lied at the behest of Israel. Donald Trump came in and in a matter of 2 weeks pressured Israel to commit to a ceasefire. Now, I said at the time that there's probably additional assurances that Donald Trump gave to Benjamin Netanyahu. That much is becoming clear, even right now. The fact that Donald Trump also is talking about how he's going to turn Gaza into beachfront property is further assurances that he is not interested in, obviously, understandably, the emancipation of Palestinian people, make no mistake, and instead is giving Israel the opportunity to re-up and rearm in the process as they ship more weapons, specifically 2,000-pound bombs. If I were libbed up, I would be like, see, Donald Trump is significantly worse than Joe Biden on the issue of Palestine. That's what I would say. That would be a libbed up analysis. Clear-headed analysis on the matter is different than that. You have to understand there's a difference. How do you see this potential West Bank annexation deal playing out for Netanyahu and his base and coalition are so opposed to ending the war? Personally, I'm skeptical the deal will survive phase one. But what's the calculation for Bibi if it does? Would he regain support by annexation/KSA peace? How do you see a part of it? I think that Benjamin Netanyahu, and you'll probably agree with me on this, his number one thing in Israel, aside from being the security guy, is that he has 3 decades of experience with America. Everyone in Israel understands that America has to be, America is the most valuable ally, and that if you have a politician that is, quote unquote, the whisperer of the American state, that's pretty valuable. So I think Benjamin Netanyahu's close relationship with Donald Trump will be highlighted by the likes of, Channel 14 and all these other pro Benjamin Netanyahu outlets, and that will consistently gain him more support, enough support that he does not have to have a delicate allegiance with all these other people, and most likely will cause him to regain control of the Israeli government. But I don't know if this will happen, but what I suspect is he will keep beefing up. And Donald Trump will also give him the additional American propaganda from the American state that is necessary for his survival, his political survival, so that he can do whatever he wants and suffer some political penalties for it, but not so much that it completely disbands his governing coalition and potentially kicks him out of power. That is how I think he will be able to stay in power and continue, and maybe even limit the offensive actions in Gaza and create a period of fake peace so that he can re-up and rearm and annex the West Bank in its entirety later down the line. I agree partly, but at the end of the day, I'm not sure how he remains a power electorally with the war gone. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Especially considering that, and you know this better because you are in Israel, but it does feel like, at least from over here, that even a brief cessation of hostilities is being seen as a major issue in Israel, in spite of the fact that you are seeing hostages get released, and there's like a brief moment of celebration for that. It seems like the broad majority of Israeli society, specifically majorities in the Jewish population, want the war to continue, want the genocide to continue, want the death and destruction to continue. So we'll see. Absolutely. Ben-Gvir left already, and Smotrich would leave after phase one. So it's interesting to see if he'd permanently join with Gantz after this. Yeah. It is pretty wild to think that Israel like Israeli society broadly is supercharged and primed to continue the death and destruction campaign. Like that is like Benjamin Netanyahu's popularity has only increased as he has escalated the violence. It increased when he moved the violence over to Lebanon. Like they consider that to be a good thing, a positive thing. So if he were to dial that back in any capacity, he would suffer political penalties for it. And I don't think Donald Trump is bold enough to just hang Netanyahu out to dry like that. I don't think he would ever do that, even though I don't think he likes Benjamin Netanyahu. So either he cut a side deal with Miriam Adelson and they have different intentions for who governs Israel after the fact, because I've read reporting, again, this is like palace intrigue shit, but I've read reporting on Miriam Adelson also not being too fond of the Netanyahus. And I know for a fact that Donald Trump is not exactly fond of Benjamin Netanyahu either. So unless they have like a separate setup and they'll allow Benjamin Netanyahu to fall, what do you think happens to Palestine? Do you think the ceasefire is legit? I mean, the ceasefire is illegitimate to begin with, but how illegitimate it is entirely dependent on what the Israeli government does going forward. So it's illegitimate either in the next 42 days or it's illegitimate after 42 days when phase 1 is supposed to move into phase 2. In the process, there will still be like 90 plus Israeli occupying force prisoners of war that Hamas maintains. And therefore, there will still be a lot of public pressure to continue trying to get those hostages back. And that is supposed to be the bargaining chip to ensure that the ceasefire goes from phase 1 to phase 2. But Benjamin Netanyahu keeps yelling at the public, saying over and over again that he's not going to abide by that standard. He's not going to go into phase 2. He's given assurances to Smotrich in order to maintain his coalition that by phase 2 in the next 42 days, they're going to continue the bombing campaign. So we'll see. Turn on Fox News. What's on Fox News? Hulk is on Fox News.
Me down. Just like that 4-year administration.
What are you going to do?
The lies, the cheating, all the stuff that's going on, brother. I feel like the veil has been lifted and that dark cloud. If I wasn't so tired, brother, I'd just rip all my clothes.
Oh, you're not tired.
You know what? Donald Trump lifted the veil off America. Hold on, Jess.
All right, here we go.
Our border. Lower gas prices.
Yes.
We got real American beer in the house. We got real American beer. And we've got Trumpomania, brother. We've got Trumpomania running this country, brother. One nation under God.
I can't believe this is American politics, man. I'm so sorry you have to live there. Brother or sister or MB, understand that what's going on here, what's happening here is coming to your backyard too, is coming to your neighborhood too. That's the craziest part about it, is that like what we do here will inevitably make its way to you. And it already has been. It already has been making its way to you. Elon Musk is sig-heiling on the national stage, but he's doing something I think more insidious on the global stage, right? He's sig-heiling on the national stage. And what is he doing in the UK? Trying to elevate reform, even though he had a brief back and forth with Nigel Farage over Tommy Robinson. He's trying to elevate the AfD in Germany. Like they are setting up a network of fascist governments all across Western liberal capitalist countries. So, I mean, they're doing it with Pierre Poilievre in Canada. They're making a new axis, basically.
Something else.
What executive orders have passed? So many. Too many to count. Many of them are stupid. Well, here's another wonderful take from Trump on Gaza.
Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
Yeah, World Health Organization withdrawal, unlimited climate change. No, limited to climate change. Left the Paris Climate Accords.
Do you plan to help in rebuilding Gaza?
I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some Fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
When you hear a real estate developer say that, run. This man wants to turn Gaza into a golf course. Oh my God.